Buenas tardes, good afternoon. ¿Qué pasa? Bienvenidos a ¿Qué pasa, mujer? Welcome to ¿Qué pasa, mujer? Estamos aquí celebrando el primer domingo de diciembre y el último mes de 2024. Entonces, preparándonos para el 2025, muchos cambios, muchas metas que deberíamos empezar a pensar de esas cosas. Ah, entonces vamos a traer a Nicté y a Mary. Mary nos dijo que no iba a estar hoy aquí, pero nos va a dar la sorpresa de estar con nosotros. So we're going to go ahead and bring Nicté on and Mary as well. The three of us are here with you guys. Nicté, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, muy bien. Hola, mujeres.
¿Cómo estás tú, Mary?
Buenas tardes. I'm
Oh.
good. Doing
I thought you weren't
good.
going to be here today.
Did I say that? Okay.
Yeah, surprise
I'm
visit.
here.
All right, sounds good. So what's going on in Hawaii since it's
Nothing
morning
much.
time? How was your week?
Nothing much. It was good. I'm still I had to still take it slow from when I was feeling too good. So I'm still, I think finally yesterday I felt good to do things, but I think I overdid it just because I don't like sitting still and not doing anything. So I struggle with just not doing anything, and I had to do that. But yeah, so it's been good. It's a beautiful day. I'm looking forward to after the show. I'm gonna take my son out, and I promised him we would do something fun outside of the house.
So not being able to be still, is that a Latin thing or just a female thing?
I don't know. That's a great question.
What do you think, Maddie? Since you shook your head.
I don't know. I think it's a little bit of both, but I think it's more like a Latino thing, I think. Because I remember my mom not being able to like just sit. You know, my mom was always doing something. She was either moving the dishes or the pots or getting somebody water, and it was like, Mom, sit down and eat, let everybody get their stuff. And she wanted to make sure that everybody was kind of like taken care of. She couldn't just sit down, so yeah, I want to say it's a little bit of more. I think it's a woman thing, but also a Latino thing.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a learned behavior.
Oh,
True.
yeah.
You had to sit back and watch it and say, oh my God, I'm going to end up doing the same thing, or I'm going to do the total opposite. Because that's crazy. I know one of my aunts, she's constantly on the go, and a couple of years ago, she had that foot disease where she couldn't be on her feet. She had to get an operation. And I'm like, that's what you get for always trying to do something around the house. One day she lives in Florida, and she was taking me to the airport, and we had to stop by my cousin's house to get my luggage. And so while I was packing, she was cleaning the front door. I'm like, what are you doing? Just chill out, like extreme, but that's how our family is. And Maddie, how was your week? I was thinking you took today off because you're a grandchild, and now that you're a grandmother, your life has changed and your priorities have changed. You're on mute.
Oh.
Sorry. So actually today is my father-in-law's birthday. So I do have a house full of family downstairs. So we're celebrating his my husband's aunt cooked. She made an asopao. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but that's kind of like
my favorite.
Like a soupy rice, So she made a big asopao. So they're frying tostones right now, and aguacate and stuff. So yeah, they're getting ready to eat. So that's kind of probably that's why I said I might not be here today. But we were planning on doing it somewhere else, but they ended up being here in my house. I was okay, I could do it. So I'm upstairs while they're getting everything ready downstairs. But we had a good week. Had a decent week. I only worked Monday and Tuesday. So I've been off since Wednesday, and got to, spend time with the grandbaby, got to feed her turkey until she, couldn't eat no more turkey. So, yeah, so had a good time with her. had a little scare yesterday. She has been having some, they look like spasms. So I had been, kind of like researching and Googling to see, um, kind of like what that is, asking Dr. Google, so, but anyway, and it said that it could be seizures. So we kind of panicked because we've seen her do it before, but like yesterday was like very continuous. So she did it like for like a period of like 2 to 3 minutes, and it was noticeable. And she was scared. She panicked. Like you could see it in her face that she didn't know what was happening to her body. So it was scary. So we ended up taking her to the ER, and they did all kinds of tests on her. They said for now everything is normal. So obviously we gotta have to follow up with doctors and specialists and stuff like that. But it was really scary. So
I
that
had a
was yesterday.
friend. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I had a friend that happened to their child, and he was already like 5 or something like that. But they had to install extra cameras in the house because they never knew when it was going to happen. So they ended up showing the footage to the doctor so they can see like the beginning of the seizure coming.
Yeah, so that's what they asked us if we have recorded it, because I, like, again, I've seen her do it a couple of times. So it's basically like a jerk movement, like forward of the, like the body and the legs, and then she stands up again, but it's like she loses control and she goes forward, and yesterday you could feel her body like jerking, so
It
it was
lasted longer.
weird. Yesterday was, yeah, it was longer and it was more frequent. Yeah, and then we were searching online, and and we saw a video of a baby doing exactly the same thing she was doing, and they said that it could be seizures or whatever, all this kinds of stuff, and that you had to let the doctor know immediately. So yeah, so I was telling my doctor, don't take her to the ER, whatever, and she's like, no, mom, it says here that. And I was like, okay, you do it, and she did. And I guess, just it just gave her peace of mind to know, I mean, I know that it's, it's gonna take a little bit more to find out, why it's happening and things like that. But to put her at peace, she kind of wanted to take her and make sure that the doctor told her that she was okay. So, so she's been okay. And like I said, it happened on Thanksgiving Day for like a couple of times, and then it happened yesterday. So we're keeping an eye on her and kind of trying to see, what happens. And we've noticed that it seems to happen when she gets tired, when she's a little bit tired. So, and then,
No more turkey for the
I
baby.
know. I was reading about the baby spasms, and it said that they come on from anywhere from 5 months to 8 months, and she is 8 months. So that's kind of why we thought that was it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But again, feeling blessed that everybody's healthy, everybody's okay. My kids are home. Got to have dinner with the kids, and we spent time at my sister-in-law's house. And it's always nice. Like my daughter's like, oh, it's boring, and yeah, but when we stop doing it,
Together.
everybody misses it, so it's one of those things that you're like, oh, I don't want to do the same old thing, and then you don't do it, and it's like, why are we not doing the same
All
old
right.
thing, you know
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Let's see. For me, I don't think a lot is going on. Just the usual. My mother, my grandmother, my children, um, my fiance, just all of those things. Just life. And I was just thinking, like, I guess the last 3 months I've been thinking about the end of 2024, and just looking forward to 2025. And this weekend we went to Georgia, and my future sister-in-law was putting her Christmas tree up, and I thought about Maddie. I was like, Maddie already been done this. You're muted.
My tree has been up for like 2 weeks, and we're like loving every single minute of it. Like you should have seen when the baby like discovered it, and like she's like staring at it, and like literally she sits in front of it and just looks at it.
Oh, that's good. So around this time of year, we kind of talk about the different traditions that we have gained throughout the years that we got from our families, and maybe also created our own traditions as we came. Especially if you were raised in another country and then you come here, like Thanksgiving, for example. That's not something that we celebrate in Latin America, but once we come here, we embrace is one of the holidays that we embrace. And we have a guest, Belu. Mark, you go ahead and bring her on. She's been on the show before. She's an expert at the Colombian traditions. Hola, Belu, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, muy bien. ¿Y tú cómo estás?
Bien, gracias. Contenta que estás con nosotros otra vez para que nos digas unas tradiciones chéveres de Colombia, y también vamos a hablar un poquito de tus proyectos que tienes en tu vida también. La última vez que estuviste acá, creo que hablamos bastante de dichos colombianos o cosas que se hacen en Colombia. Entonces, ahorita quería que nos dijeras un poquito del Día de las Velas. ¿Así se dice? ¿Así se llama
el Día de las Velitas? Se dice,
velitas.
sí. Mucho gusto, Mari y Nicte. La última vez que estuve acá solo estuve hablando con Viviana, entonces mucho gusto de conocerlas.
Un placer, bienvenida.
Gracias.
Bienvenida.
Pues a ver, el Día de las Velitas es como la mayoría de las tradiciones colombianas, está pues basada o enraizada en la religión. Yo la verdad no soy muy católica, no soy religiosa para nada, pero es algo que también igual se hace ya como muy al común, o sea, más allá de como que hagas parte de una religión o no, es algo que hace parte ya de la cultura colombiana como tal, y simboliza pues no solamente algo religioso, sino también como el comienzo de la Navidad. Entonces todos se reúnen, tiene que ver con la Virgen María, todos se reúnen, prenden las velitas en la noche, hay gente que tiene pues comida, hay gente que se reúne para pues con música, con bebidas, y pues aquí en Estados Unidos como que la comunidad colombiana está tratando de hacer este tipo de eventos como más para la gente que conozca nuestra cultura. Entonces estaba hablando con Viviana que este sábado yo vivo en el área de Washington, D.C., voy a estar con mi grupo que se llama District of Columbia, vamos a estar en un lugar que se llama La Cosecha, cantando música navideña al estilo vallenato y cumbia.
¿Y qué parte de Colombia eres tú?
Pues yo soy, digamos que de varios sitios. Nací en Bogotá, pero mi papá es de la región de Antioquia, mi mamá pues nació en Bogotá, pero también con raíces de Boyacá, y viví también en muchos años en Girardot, y también viví en la costa, me la pasaba mucho en el valle. Entonces como que tuve la experiencia de conectar con muchas de las culturas, subculturas o regiones de Colombia, y pues como absorber muchas cosas de cada de esas regiones en las que estuve.
Sí, yo sé que, por ejemplo, nuestra familia en Colombia, nosotros somos de Bogotá, y para el Día de las Velitas, todo el vecindario tiene sus velitas y tienen su música y sacan sus sillas, y es una calle que, ¿cómo se dice? Dead end. Entonces,
Sí,
en
la cuadra del barrio.
La cuadra, ajá. Entonces ahí sacan sus sillas, sacan música, comida, tragos, se ponen a bailar y toda la noche hasta el amanecer.
Eso es lo que, sí, yo creo que en general los latinos, ¿no? Nos encanta, yo sí soy malísimo para trasnochar, siempre lo he sido, pero nos encanta trasnochar, digamos, en general, como la cultura. A mí me da sueño a las 10 de la noche, ya quiero dormir, ya me dijeron que si era gringada, yo no, la verdad, honestamente, como que siempre me ha dado mucho sueño trasnochar. Entonces, pues no, pero sí, o sea, es una tradición que yo sí me quedé igual de niña, me quedé hasta las 12 de la medianoche, ¿no? Que es mucha tradición para abrir los regalos. Pero ahorita tengo un bebé de 2 años, no sé si lo vaya a hacer. You know what I mean? O sea, le da sueño igual al bebé, está cranky. Vámonos a dormir.
Nick, ¿tú alguna vez hiciste tradición con la parte colombiana de tu sangre?
De las velitas no me acuerdo, pero la trasnochada sí.
Sí, la trasnochada pasa en cualquier momento, en
Sí.
cualquier fiesta.
En cualquier, es muy, o sea, también cuando los papás se iban a bailar, ¿no? Y uno se quedaba ahí, estaban bailando en la casa de la tía, de la abuela, y cuál irse a dormir a las 10 de la mañana, poniendo a todos en una cama a dormir, a todos los primos,
Sí,
todos los
una
chiquitos.
vez que yo fui a Colombia cuando tenía creo que 15 años, nos acostamos hasta que salió el sol. Y yo tenía 15 años y mi abuelita estaba enojada con mi familia, que por qué me dejaron despierta tanto tiempo y con esos borrachos y yo alrededor de ellos, pero muy divertido.
Sí. ¿Qué será? ¿Qué será que a los latinos les encanta esa trasnochada, ¿no? Y es hasta que 5 de la mañana, 6 de la mañana, ¿no?
Sí.
Ujú. Es que parte es la música, porque la música hace que uno se mantenga despierto y si estás con gente chévere, que la pasas bien,
Está.
uno ni se da
También,
cuenta la hora.
también,
Sí.
sí, sí.
Nosotros buscamos cualquier excusa para quedarnos
Mari, ¿ustedes
despiertos.
hacen algo así parecido en Santo Domingo?
Cualquier cosa.
No que yo recuerde, pero siempre sí estamos buscando cualquier excusa para una trasnochada, para uno estar juntos, y es chistoso que lo mencionen eso de los primos todos juntos. Ayer pasamos en la tarde nos juntamos a cenar con unas amistades de nosotros que rentaron una casa en la playa para pasarla con sus hermanos y las tías y eso. Se juntaron la familia completa y nos invitaron a nosotros a cenar ayer. Y mi cuñada me estaba diciendo, tenemos que rentar una casa para que los muchachos, para que los primos se junten a dormir juntos. Literalmente. Y yo me estaba diciendo, ellos hacen eso todo el tiempo. Cada vez que se juntan, ellos se juntan y se quedan en un cuartito chiquito y se la pasan jugando, lo que sea. Especialmente los 4 más pequeños de nosotros, que son mis gemelos. Mi cuñada tiene una hembra y un varón que se llevan 1 año solamente y los gemelos míos son todos de la misma edad más o menos y han crecido juntos y ellos, como decimos nosotros, se pelan por estar juntos. Mis hijos llegaron de la escuela y lo primero que hicieron, mami, vamos para donde Titi. Y se fueron. Y anoche tuve que llamarlo. Mira, tú te vas mañana. Tú no vas a venir a pasar un ratito con nosotros. No. Pero sí, eso es lo primero que nosotros pensamos. Sí, a juntarnos todos juntos para que los primos puedan dormir juntos y amanecer haciendo nada.
Es que la familia es como muy importante, ¿no? En ese sentido. O sea, es como que esa comunidad, y eso es lo que hace la diferencia en las navidades también latinas versus de acá de Estados Unidos. Es todo el tiempo, es casi un mes sí, como de reunirse y de estar con el espíritu navideño.
Y no es solo la Navidad, llega la Navidad, después que pasa la Navidad llega el Año Nuevo, después los Reyes, después la vieja Belén y el Día del Niño y no sé qué, y todavía llega febrero y nosotros estamos celebrando Navidad.
Sí, yo sé, por ejemplo, en Colombia casi todo el mes de diciembre eso es pura fiesta, ¿no?
Nadie está haciendo nada, literal.
Oh my God, sí, porque a partir del Día de las Velitas o antes.
Yo creo que es como a partir del Día de las Velitas, pero ya como que todo el mundo está haciendo ahí ya maña en la primera semana de diciembre, ya como que, bueno, sí, o sea, es muy diferente a aquí, como uno lo vería aquí.
Sí, hace creo que fueron como 2 o 3 años, nos reunimos bastante de nuestra familia que está aquí en Estados Unidos, nos reunimos en Florida y era para el Día de Acción y Gracias también, y lo mismo, comida, bebida, música, la gente mayor con la gente mayor, o sea, como que se empiezan a separar entre los grupos o los primos que son más o menos de la misma edad y los más jóvenes tomándole fotos a todo mundo. Tengo una foto bien chistosa que tenemos muchos familiares que tienen por ahí entre 70 y 90 años y sus hijos les íbamos a tomar una foto de esa generación, pero antes de tomar la foto, todas las hijas van y les arreglan la ropa o el pelo. Y en esa foto como que cada mamá o papá tiene su hija que la está
Que les da
arreglando
regla
para
tan
tomarle
linda.
la foto. Oh my God, it's so
Estaba,
funny.
ayer también estaba relajando con mi hija y le estaba diciendo que ella no, como que no cambia a la bebé, o sea, no le pone sus trajes. Yo le dije, tú no sabes que nosotros somos especialistas en cambiarnos y ponernos trajes de brillo para ir para la sala. Así es que nosotros nos
Sí.
cambiamos para estar sentados en la sala.
Bueno,
No,
yo no
no.
sé si en Santo Domingo pase, pero en Colombia al menos, entonces tienes que tener el calzón para el año nuevo y o sea, tienes que tener, y la pinta, o sea, tienes que estar estrenando, ¿no? O sea, en general, ¿no? Obviamente hay situaciones en donde las comunidades no pueden, pero es como tradición que tienes que estrenar algo. O sea,
Sí, aunque
tener
sea
la
los
pinta,
jeans, ¿no?
Uno
aunque sea
estrenar
algo.
no necesariamente tiene que ser nuevo, es algo diferente y que no era tuyo y ahora es tuyo. Eso es estrenar.
Eso es, sí. Bueno, mi abuelita siempre me compraba calzones amarillos que tenían sonido. De esos ahí donde tú ibas a los agáchese o a las tiendas esas así de baratas, cosas baratas. Y entonces mi abuelita siempre llegaba con los calzones. Yo decía, abuelita, pero ¿por qué estos calzones? Pero no, ahora me lo recuerdo con cariño. Y tenían sonido y todo, y tenían una gallina y tenían una cosa más de chistoso. Los calzones amarillos para la buena suerte.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Muy interesante. Belu, tell us a little bit about your podcast. What is your podcast about?
My podcast, yeah. So my podcast is called Latinas Be Like Us. Y es un espacio en inglés. So we talk in English and it's stories of Latinas that are following their passions and their dreams in the United States and focus on the creative process of what they do. Like how did they get there? Like how do they, like started from zero to nothing. And, like I guess also kind of like a window onto why, like how did they make that happen, and maybe how can some people use whatever every Latina has accomplished to follow their dreams. So it was my way to give to the community, like create those platforms of like um elevate stories of Latinas like fighting the se me olvidaba la palabra,
The
como que
stereotype?
the stereotypes, yeah, fighting the stereotypes of Latinas, that we are not a monolith. I mean, we are like so diverse and we have so many dreams and we have so many different opinions. So yeah, so like this is gonna be also almost my second year, and sí, hay que apoyar a la comunidad. And then also, like, I just started posting on Threads. So I'm being really active. I'm super active on Instagram and Threads. And I just posted like one post. And I say, hey, have I ever tell you about my podcast, Latinas Be Like Us? Because I haven't been, like the past 2 months, I've been like really busy with my like my other job. I mean, all of them are jobs, really. And so I'm like, did I tell you about my podcast? And then I got like, I don't know, like 100 people like, yeah, I'm interested in participating. I'm like, oh my God, but espérate. give me a moment. I'll reply to every one of you. Because, it's only me and my best friend from high school. She's the brand manager and like, I guess like audio editing. And then I'm the producer. So it's a small team. And so I'm like, wait 1 second. And then I actually had help at some point, like coordinating interviews, but then I don't have that at this point, so I'm just doing that by myself. So yeah, so Latinas Be Like Us, it was like I wanted to be part of the community that gives back, and so this is my way.
So with the podcast, what's something that you have seen in common with the women that you've had? Not all of them, of course, but what's something like a un patrón, like a pattern that you have seen within us Latinas?
I think it's just the drive. Like I think just the drive to follow dreams, even though they have encounter issues, problems in their lives. It hasn't been easy for many, or like I think just like the thing that I guess I found in common is that we're all passionate about what we love, and like we're really, when you really want to do something, you really go and do something. And so that's sort of like the pattern that I've seen. But yeah, like everyone is so unique. Like I got to interview an author of a children's book that is called No es tu culpa. And then I got to interview, my first interview was with a woman called Heidi Rojas, whom you should follow and listen to. She has a song that I love. It's called Madre Creator, and she's incredible. She lives in California. And then I got to interview also like some of my incredible, talented, creative friends from here in the Washington D.C. area, from Laura Love to Anya, like a DJ mom, also creator, and just so many other stories. Like Chinola, who is coming up too, and then I got to talk to a woman called Mariela Anderson, who is sharing her story of adoption. She wrote also a book called Home Sweet Casa. So it's just so many beautiful stories, and I think the beautiful thing about it is that I'm able to also inspire myself while I interview these women, because it's a conversation of like just two women just like sharing their experiences, but specific, like obviously focus on the guest, and just like for me it's just like one of those like master classes. Like I get to talk to women about what they are doing and how they did it, and I get inspiration from each and every single one of them. So I hope that like the episodes, like all of the episodes, we finally reach 1,000 downloads, which is great. Like for a podcast that has a zero budget, and like that it does not have a big staff, and it's all with the nails and the teeth. So 1,000 dollars is it's huge. And just like we've had already so many guests, and more is coming.
Belu, déjame preguntarte también. Estaba viendo I've been watching I was watching your Instagram, and I love the funny approach that you have to your videos. Any particular reason why you chose to be funnier when it comes to kind of addressing some of the issues and the things that you talk about? Like I was laughing, I was dying with the one about partying with the young people, and that you're sleepy by 10 p.m. and you're sitting in the bathroom like, oh my god, how do I go to it was hilarious. So but and I was laughing because I could totally relate. But any particular reason why you chose that funny approach, and what you chose to be funny about addressing topics like that?
I guess I just chose it because that's really me. I mean, like I'm really just being authentic. Like that's just it's just using how I feel more comfortable sharing stories. So like and I've been doing content creation for a while, and I finally found like this is me. Like I'm just gonna like, and this is that it really is the recipe like for content creation. Like be as authentic as you can be. Obviously, like people are not gonna know you 100% through videos, but yeah. So humor, I've always loved humor. I think like it's a really magical and great way to connect with people. And then yeah, so it's just being me. And like I've always also liked acting, so it's also my way to act. well, I haven't really like taken any classes, but even when I was a child, like I was just like so dramatic with my, with my mom and like acting and like doing all these things. So yeah, and that's, I think that also comes with like family. Like everyone likes doing a lot of creative stuff. But yeah, in short, really is because it's how I feel more comfortable.
That's awesome. My daughter always says, she's like, Mom, we will be rich if you let me record you, because she's like, sometimes like my husband and I would be saying stuff and like she makes fun of our English. So sometimes, most of the time, like I'm very conscious about how I speak in English. And I know I have an accent, but I make an effort so that my accent is not as thick. But sometimes when we're in the house, just kind of like talking and playing around or whatever, it comes out however it comes out. So my daughter always said, Mom, you and Dad, you don't speak English. So she's like, we will be rich if you let me record you. So I think that that also, that chemistry, we see it a lot in our families. There's always a fun one, there's always a crazy one, there's always, so
Yeah. Yeah,
it
and I like to consider myself a little bit of all of them. Funny, crazy, like passionate, like all of those things. And like my platform is also to I was like unfortunately you get people sometimes to that say things that are just like, whoa, like really, did you just say that? So like I don't know if one of my most recent videos, like I was just like commenting on someone who said on, like I do videos like making fun of things that Colombians are told throughout the years, which is like obviously the same thing. I love Pablo Escobar, I love narcos, blah blah blah. The most recent one that I had, someone said to me, it was earlier this year, someone literally said to me that I'm like a Griselda the boss, because 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 I'm a business person and music, and so that's why I'm Griselda. So that you can't be associated with anyone else but like Griselda from Colombia, because obviously. And so like I'm just doing that, and then someone said, and you look like a little Indian when you speak English, como una indiecita cuando hablas inglés. And then I was like, I mean, that doesn't offend me, because my face is what is the product of generations of ancestry and the colonization, and like the mixture of all of our roots. So there is no offense in that, but it's just like it baffles me that someone thinks that that is
An
a
insult.
groseria or an insult. But also like not knowing the history of the United States, which is also that native tribes were forced to learn English from the very beginning and forced to assimilate, and they were displaced, and they were massacred, and like so many other things. So like I try to do it, it's a little bit political if people don't realize it. My humor, it's a little bit political. It's like making fun of the things that you find that are kind of ridiculous, like making fun of people's accents, or making fun of the way you look, or making fun of where you come from. And so and I also call Colombians out, because like people who complain about um the dark history of Colombia from the 90s and the 80s. Well, like at least from my perspective, I've learned that if I don't like that, when someone said that to me, I'm not gonna do that for anyone else. So I'm not gonna, like I'm not gonna be saying that, where people from the Dominican Republic are this, or people from Santo Domingo are that, or people from Panama are this, because I don't like doing that. I don't like when someone does that for Colombians. So, in a sense, it's a little bit political. Like I don't think people realize it for the majority of times, but that's what I do.
Nick, were
I
you
also,
gonna say something? Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Maddie.
no, I was gonna say really quick. I think also Latinos were very como propietarios. No sé si esa es la palabra, o like we take ownership a lot. When it
Mhm.
comes to like our cultures. Like we see that here in the United States a lot when it comes to being black or white. And then for us, it's like, okay, yo soy dominicana, yo soy colombiana, yo soy venezolana, yo soy. It's like for us, it's more. It's very like we hold a lot of pride when it comes to our culture, you know. So like you say, Velu, to have somebody, you know, that is not Colombian be like, oh, you know, Colombians be like, you know, whatever. It's more of an insult. No, no, not so much an insult, but you know, you're not allowed to talk like that because you're not Colombian, you know. So and I think we see that more in Hispanic culture. Go ahead, Ingrid. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, Maddie. It kind of ties into what I was thinking is I think as Latinas, Latinos, Hispanos, we are divided in many ways that we are connected. Al punto que decías, Belú, de que lo que te hacen a ti o te han dicho a ti no te gusta hacerle a otras personas, eso para mí es fundación, o sea, de familia, de amistades, de lo que sea, hasta extraños, o sea, uno puede ser un líder poniendo el ejemplo de lo que uno como quiere que vea la perspectiva y así puedes cambiar a la gente que vea a nuestras culturas, nuestra comunidad diferente, en vez de atacar a la gente por algo que de repente dijeron que no pensaron no, o no tenían la perspectiva. Entonces yo siempre veo eso como un punto de ayudar a la gente a entender un poco algo diferente. Yo, a comparación de mi familia, o sea, yo soy multicultural. Paola, o Viviana es mi prima de sangre. She's my actual cousin. Así que tengo Colombia, me crié en Venezuela, pero yo nací en México, en el DF. Toda la familia de mi papi es de México. O sea, yo desde chiquita fui muy consciente que tengo diferentes culturas y a mí siempre me molestaba cuando escuchaba a un lado de mi familia decía, ay, es que ustedes no son tan buenos, o los mexicanos esto, o el lado colombiano que decían de esto. O sea, a mí nunca me gustó eso porque eran como que they pulled me from different directions, so I was hearing negativity from so many angles. Eso también.
You're both of them.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't like that. Or even like hasta cuando vivía en Venezuela, que yo me crié ahí, parte de mi cultura es de Venezuela, hablo más con un acento venezolano, y cuando escuchaba que criticaban a los colombianos o viceversa, porque siempre había esa como tensión, no me gustaba porque yo veía lo lindo de lo que es poder venir todos juntos de diferentes perspectivas, diferentes culturas, y de manera diferente poder celebrar, así como hablamos en el show, de las cosas diferentes que hacemos en Navidad, pero el punto del centro, el núcleo es de que nos gusta compartir con la familia, estar juntos, like we love, and I'm trying to do English and Spanish at the same time. I see you, Tangi, I hear you. In trying to connect our identity and our heritage. And so my question, and I'm kind of prefacing with that, is when you're doing your podcast, and is there, I know you want to amplify our stories, is there a way that you approach conversations with people to kind of like get them to celebrate or share more about their culture, tying into what you were saying, how you want other people to have that, kind of lead with that respect, not belittling other cultures or even as Hispanos? Is there anything that you catch yourself doing?
So in social media, I'll usually call the BS. I called it. I really, I'm very intentional. People say, "Oh, don't fight on social media." I'm like, no, but this is my persona. Like, I actually, te voy a regañar. Like, I'm actually like going to yell at you. Te voy a regañar, porque that is like, why? That is so uncalled for. So someone actually said something at some point about Venezuelans and Venezuelans this and Venezuelans that and Venezuelans, and then I said, you know what? That is exactly what people say about immigrants in the United States. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Like that. Like, what I'm hearing you say, no, but what is this thing that they keep saying about Venezuela, like a cartel from Venezuela that they're gonna get rid of something about Venezuela, and so they keep bringing it up in Colombia, and like blah, and so I'm like, look, there are bad people everywhere. Literally, bad people are everywhere. I'm not gonna say Venezuela is this, Venezuela and that, because no, because like crime, because it was all crime in Colombia because there's been a lot of migrations from Venezuela, but Venezuela and Colombia specifically, like we share so much history. And also, like Mexico too, like Mexico and Venezuela, and there is a lot of so much xenophobia both ways. Like, it's just crazy to me that like, and unfortunately, like, part of it is also like human nature, but just because it's part of our nature to be tribal, that doesn't mean that we have to be like, we have to otherize, we have to be mean to people, we have to disrespect people. So that's, yeah, I call the BS. I don't, I don't allow it. I usually, like, call that, block or delete, like, whatever I have to say. For the most part, I call it. But whenever I'm on stage, I just usually talk about unity. I talk about like, we're all here to celebrate. There is a song of Carlos Vives that we like singing. It's called Carito. And then one of the last parts of that song is, dice, no importa la raza, tampoco si al fin no importa la raza, tampoco ya, ni tengo que cantarla, si no se me olvida. Pero no, básicamente es, it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter how much money you have, it doesn't matter your race, no importa la raza, tampoco ya se me olvidó, no importa, y si no importa lo que sea, es la buena persona. Importa ese, no importa ni siquiera, no importa religión, o sea, it doesn't matter where you come from, no, it doesn't matter color, it doesn't matter if you have money, it doesn't matter if you're poor, it doesn't matter. The most important thing is you're a good person. And so, like, it's a motto that I like using whenever we are on the platform, specifically for District of Columbia, for La Marbella, which is another band that I'm part of. We are a little bit more, I will say, not political, but we're, like, we're more enfáticas. Somos un poco más como mission driven in terms of talking about domestic violence, in terms of talking about women's liberation, in terms of talking about equal rights and equal opportunities for everyone. But yeah, so it's all about unity, and for the most part, people aren't as bad on, and I haven't really had any encounters in person with someone to really call on the BS. But if somebody tries that with me, I'll probably call on that BS, because it's just not necessary. It's not necessary. So it's an opportunity to educate people and to say that's not, and that's also why I made the video of the, pareces una indiecita hablando inglés, because I said, that's
and I
very,
think it's good because you're addressing the issues. It's like the elephant in the room, right? And somebody has to address them in a tactful way, and you bring comedy to it. And I have some stuff to say, but I just wanted to say hello to Tangi, Nancy Sutachan, Enrique Acosta, Lili Matos, and I think we had one more from Miluska. But of course, I always like to talk about the Hispanic Star because they have really good data. But I know some of the things that they have on their graphic for Latinas is Latinas are hardworking and ambitious. It says they're known to be beautiful, sexy, and loud are the most common adjectives used by non-Latinos to describe Latinas. On another hand, the Latino community notices the strength of character, intelligence, and entrepreneurship identity of Latinas. And that is so true, right? Because even in these four squares, we see it with the four of us. And lately, I've been talking to a couple of construction companies, and they're Hispanic owned, but the female is the one that's really, like, the guys, just the husband is just showing up to do the work. She's doing the estimate. She's doing, the administrative, the finances, and all that stuff. And like to see the partnership is good. And one thing that I wanted to ask you, Velu, in reference to your videos and your podcast, I remember several months ago, I think you did a video on women that don't wear a lot of makeup, that don't really fix their hair and stuff like that. And that's part of the stereotype. Because we do have the stereotype of saying that Latinas are submissive. And, there are some Latinas that are, with a lot of makeup and really into fashion, but then you have some that are not. And I remember when you did that video, if you could tell us a little bit, because I think that is you, right? Like, that is a topic that maybe you have taken as personal, but then you've put comedy to it. But it's a real topic. It's a very
Yeah, I
serious.
mean, so I think in general, like me already, like I for the most part, I don't wear much makeup, like
Mhm.
unless like I'm doing like a show on like on stage or I'm recording a video, I might. But for the most part, it's already a statement that I make. I might wear a little bit of makeup here and there. Sometimes I just get up and do a video. And I did get some comments saying like, "Oh, but you should put a little bit of makeup on, or like you should dress up a little bit more." I'm like, and then again, I call on your BS, honey. Like you're just like projecting your insecurities on me, like just because you are, like, and it's fine, like you want to wear makeup, that's great. I love women who wear makeup and like they are artists. I'm like, you go girl, like like you look amazing, like you know how to put all the bases and all the layers, and like wow, that's amazing, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna do it for me. And it's fine, everyone has their own choices and their own the beauty, like processes, and it's totally okay. So that in already in the sense, it's part of a statement that I make, because like, yeah, Latinas are always expected to like be like this voluptuous, like tie wearing long hair, and like like I'm completely not. I completely the opposite. So like that in itself is already like showing that we're not like somebody else already said, also said, I heard Colombian women are beautiful, but da da da. I'm like, and I'm like, I mean, it doesn't really. I think I already done a PhD in like, and I think like us women, like we've heard so much, like being like people like men and other women who kind of uphold those beliefs that we need to act a certain way. That I feel like I have a PhD and I don't give a a ratas. I don't care. Like I really don't care about what you say because I've heard it all. Like I've heard it all. I'm just doing here my own thing, hanging out, having a great time. ¿Por qué? Porque sí. Like there is a video that's coming up that is saying that like I already posted it on TikTok. I'm like, I hate you. You're so cringe and you're so old. Why do you continue doing your content? Porque sí. Porque sí, porque sí, porque sí. And then there is a song called Porque sí. Ay, mama, porque sí, porque sí, porque sí. So, yeah, I mean, in general, it's just, like showing that we are diverse and trying to be as not neutral, but, like as,
Because you're just being you. You're being you.
Yeah.
yeah, just being myself, but also, like calling it when it's not right. I'm like, I wouldn't say that.
I
Like, I
love
wouldn't
that.
say that, it's not cool. It's not nice.
I love everything that you've been saying, Belu. Like it resonated so much with me, because I think it's important to address things because what's happened, and this is exactly what's happened to me when I was much younger. I was very submissive, muy callada, um, very in touch with my emotions, and my family would make fun of me. Like I would cry for a lot of things, and I internalized a lot of that. And then eventually I realized, no, that just means I'm much better at connecting with people because I can read people better. I can get in touch with their emotions a lot easier. So I learned because I saw the backlash that it's perfectly amazing to be who you are and honor who you are. But I never had the agallas or the bolas to call it out until I was much later in my years. And what's happened is that now I'm perceived sometimes as like, oh, you're such a jerk, or you're such a, and it's because I'm like, no, I finally realized that it's not okay to, I love what you said that cuando te dice la gente, ay, ¿por qué no te pones maquillaje or this and that? And I love how you said it. Why are you projecting? Why are you? Because you can do it. That's great. If that makes you happy, do that. And I think that's one of the negative sides of perdón, social media is that people can hide behind a keyboard and bring others down so they can feel better. And sometimes it does take people like you to like call it out, especially when it's uncalled for. And it can bring people together that way. And instead of coming back with an attack, porque también he visto eso, like you attack brings an attack, and it's like, no, you call it out. So I think that that's a beautiful thing to do. I think sometimes too within our communities, like in Latinas, especially like women, I hear so much críticas, bicker, talking, like that needs to stop. And I think that it takes certain people con las bolas to speak in a kind way. O sea, no vas uno a la misma, no fuego con fuego, no, pero to start to diffuse that, porque yo pienso que en parte eso detiene a las nuevas generaciones que son brillantes, que tienen tanto que aportar y escuchan esas cosas y no, a veces no tienen la fuerza to be like, no, I'm going to go and do this. If this is my dream to become a pastry chef and mi familia me critica y dice que no, pero si ese es su sueño y tiene el talento, ¿por qué no? O sea, eso es lo que a lo que yo voy, que me encanta cómo lo pones, me encanta tu plataforma en la manera de que estás bringing everybody together and diversifying and sharing our gifts, but also calling the truth. So I love that you focus on
Thank
that.
you.
Me
Yeah, I
encanta
think
que lo haces con ese humor, porque algunas veces no se, como que no se siente que es un ataque o un, like a battle, right? So me encanta la parte del humor, porque estás diciendo la verdad, pero con amor y humor, so esa parte me encanta. También estoy muy contenta hoy porque veo mucha interacción de hombres hoy. Carlos Sutachán, Andrés Rivera, Iván Urueña, Enrique Acosta. Me encanta que los hombres nos están escuchando y nos están viendo. Y antes de que se me olvide, como tenemos tanto hombre hoy, antes de que se me olvide, por si no sabían, porque yo sé que algunos de nosotros no sabemos, pero los latinos en Estados Unidos, nosotros contribuimos el 3.4 trillones de dólares a la economía de Estados Unidos. A todas las reuniones que yo voy, de alguna manera encuentro cómo meter esa información ahí para uno mismo, saber esos datos y para que la gente que no es latina también saber esos datos, para que nosotros entendamos el valor que nosotros tenemos aquí en la parte financiera. Nosotros contribuimos bastante a la economía, al emprendimiento, a la educación. Nosotros somos enfermeros, enfermeras, maestras, o sea, nosotros contribuimos en muchas fases. Y por ejemplo, contigo, Belú, la presencia que tú tienes en social media, y yo sé que tú hablas mucho de la parte colombiana, pero en realidad está representando a la mujer y las diferentes maneras que tu talento está hablando de estos temas muy importantes. So, me encanta lo que tú haces, Belú, por eso.
I was
gracias,
gonna
baby.
I wanted to add too, it's like there's something when you take the power away from the things that can hurt you. And I think that is what you do so well. So, yes, oh, tú suena como una India. You're supposed to be crying because I just called you an India. But you know what? I'm going to make fun of that. So now what you going to do? If you call me India 10 times, I'm going to laugh 10 times. So that person can hurt you by doing that. So, or by telling you that you're not wearing makeup. So what? Como tú dijiste, ¿cómo fue la canción? ¿Por qué sí? ¿Por qué sí? ¿Por qué puedo? So it's like,
it's an opportunity to educate them.
Correct.
On why they're wrong, or to look at it from a different perspective. Like, okay, you said that, well, let me school you on this a little bit, just in case you didn't know that.
And honestly, al final como del cuento, it really is more the way I see it is when I do it more first for the 15-year-old girl in me. So I'm doing it for her, so that other 15-year-olds and like other women see it and then they feel inspired. That's really it. And not only women, I think, like in general, men, like people who are willing to listen, feel inspired to see, okay, you know what? Yeah, I don't have to live my life according to the standards of others. And I love what you said, Mari, about taking the power away, because that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Like, like India, yes. I mean, like, I'm a mix. Of course, I'm proud of it. Like, look at my face. Our beautiful faces, like, represent, like the thousands of years of, like history in the entire American continent. So And I'm proud of that. So there is nothing to be ashamed of. And that is also what I want to, like, ultimately my goal is, I think in general, like, we are also being conditioned to believe that el extranjero, la persona que también se ve como europeo, like they're like the ones that know best, or that the ones that are the jefe, and they're the ones that, like, and we look up to that. And there's so many beautiful things, so much richness of cultures within our countries, that we shouldn't, like, we should be proud of that. We should be proud of that. And ultimately, I think specifically in Colombia, but this also applies for everyone, every region. We tend to be too muy regionalistas. Like, we tend to divide ourselves even more within our countries. And so my goal is also to, like, see that we have much more in common, and we don't need to do that. Like, it's beautiful that one of the beautiful things, at least, like living here in the US, and is that I got to connect with people from other regions of my country, and we have so many things in common. And so that is worth celebrating, instead of dividing us more, and instead of, like, making us smaller and, like, breaking us into pieces. Porque unidos es más lindo, y unidos podemos más.
Definitivamente. Desafortunadamente ya llegamos, ya terminamos casi nuestra hora, pero muy contenta que estuviste con nosotros hoy, Belú, y me encanta el trabajo que estás haciendo. Nos sentimos muy orgullosas que tú eres parte de nuestra unión. De mujeres latinas.
Gracias.
Por estar con nosotros. Yeah.
Gracias a ustedes.
Gracias. Y como saben, siempre terminamos con un poema de Mary García. Y ella nos va a decir un poquito de su libro y después nos va a decir su poema del día.
Oh, of course. Okay, so you mentioned my book. So mi libro, my book is called A Vision of She, and it's along the same lines of what Velu was talking about. It's about empowering young girls and making sure that the little girl inside each of us knows that she is enough the way that she is. As always, like I try to come into the show kind of like with an open mind, like with an idea of the type of poem that I wanted to do, and then always at the end it switches around. So again, this is an old poem, and that I've done probably a couple of times, but I think this is a perfect time to kind of redo it. So lower the volume on your computers just in case. So I am not loud. I am a woman, for many years suppressed, waiting for the permission of a man to speak his piece, because mine have been residing in a prison until today. But many women of the past paid the price so that I could say what I have to say. So no, I am not loud. I just have to let things out. My voice have been silenced, and in poetry, my words are on an outlet where they're not restricted and they can project. My vocal cords will rise like the speed of an HVGT from 0 to 270, creating the high pitch that you perceive. So scream, my words be ready to jump off my tongue like a kid with a new toy, ready to show off or just waiting to burst into a song. Kimbara, kimbara, kimba, kimbamba. But I'm not loud. I am the youngest of three. For many years, I had to learn to let my presence be known, because the attention was so short that by the time mommy got to me, she was not shy to say, Dios mío, Madeline, pero ustedes me tienen hasta aquí. So I had two choices. I could scream, or I could talk my way into her attention span, which allowed my words to develop, but so that my pipes. It is impossible for me to remain calm, and I will tell you why. It's because I am Dominican, and that is Caribbean, but with a twist. Merengue embedded in my hips, passed down through generations, from abuela to mommy to me. My feet follow the one to count when I hear my favorite song, then swaying from side to side, I'm saying eso when I'm having fun. But my voice holds the honesty of my people, even when I'm speaking in a foreign tongue. You can feel the flavor in my multilingual tone, and outbursts of freedom to know that even when I'm navigating through the English language bumpy road, accent or not, my opinion has worth, because I represent many generations that have been unable to speak up. So I will not apologize, and I do not accept anybody's request for me to lower my voice. So I suggest you all remain calm, have a seat, understand that I am not loud. I've just been waiting a long time to speak.
That was right on point
Wow.
with today's show, Maddie. Good job. That was
Awesome,
another
awesome.
a chill one.
Yeah.
I got the chills on that one. Good
Mm-hmm.
job.
It
Thank
was
you, Maddie,
perfect.
so much. Yeah. And it's true, it's true. It's who we are. And I think it's a respect factor, we are who we are and this is who we are. And as long as I'm not hurting anybody else, there's nothing wrong with, what I'm doing. So if it's about positive, there's nothing wrong with it. I hope you ladies have an amazing week. Start off the month of December with an amazing tone because this is the last month in 2024. So we got to end it big and then we got to start big in 2025. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Velu, Nikte,
Thank
Maddie.
you.
I hope you guys have a great week. And then we will see you next Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time again. Gracias.
Gracias. Ciao.
Whether you're a seasoned designer, dabbler, or just starting out, this course is for you.
Are just so impressed with them. Like I said, we've been with them for years. I will recommend and refer anyone to them. We stand by A+ Academics. They're the best.
A+ tutorial really did help me with all my grades. They all went up when I came to this place. And I would say I recommend this school to everyone.
So it's a really good environment to be in, especially for me because it makes me look up to my parents.
If you have students that need academic help, A+ Academics is the place to be.
A+ Academics, what a great place to go for academics.
It's just a really great place to learn.